Hey guys, how's it going? This is ThePyroGunner, and Naughty Dog has always been known to make their games run and look very good compared to most other games on the market. And it certainly looks like they're doing that once again with Uncharted 4. And I know I'm kinda late on making this video, but basically they're saying that with Uncharted 4, they would have liked to make it 60 frames per second, but they aren't going to be able to reach that, so it's going to be 30 frames per second most likely. And I just want to say my thoughts on this. So, first off, I just want to say that Naughty Dog's games last generation, which were the first 3 Uncharted games as well as The Last of Us, ran at 30 frames per second, and they all played great. There wasn't anything wrong with them because they ran at 30 frames per second. But when I played The Last of Us Remastered on the PlayStation 4, not only is it basically the best looking game on the PS4 when it's like a port from last gen, but it running at 60 frames per second was absolutely beautiful. It felt so smooth and so good, and it made the gameplay in that game feel just that much better, and it was fantastic. So overall, where do I come down on 30 frames per second versus 60 frames per second, and whether you have to sacrifice frame rate or resolution? Well, with 30 frames per second versus 60 frames per second, I much prefer 60 frames per second, and it obviously depends on what game it is for, but in general, I think that having a higher frame rate is more important than having a higher resolution. But for Uncharted 4, having the better resolution might work better because all of the other Uncharteds played fine in 30 frames per second, and having this one at like 720p or not 1080p might just not look good with seeing all these ancient ruins way off in the distance, and picking out details in them will be really cool. So having that sort of graphically downgraded with the resolution just to have it in 60 frames per second might actually be worth it. So yeah, basically Naughty Dog are great game developers, and they have probably found out that that is what works best for Uncharted 4. But if it was me, just saying, maybe we would get it at 60 frames per second and a lower resolution, because overall, frame rate makes the gameplay a lot better when resolution just makes it sort of better eye candy. And obviously the most important thing in any game, especially these high action games like Uncharted, is gameplay. And having it flow smoothly is very, very important. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I think that overall, the game will still be pretty awesome, and the other ones weren't bad at 30 frames per second. I just think maybe they should have done it at 60 frames per second, or done something like on PC where we actually get to choose between like what we have for our graphical options, but that like never happens on console. So yeah, but anyways guys, I don't think it's bad that it's going to be 30 frames per second and 1080p, but I might prefer it if it was 60 frames per second and a lower resolution. Just saying. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and have a great day, guys.